You are not going to believe what happened when I opened the box when I got back. There's no wick again! Way to light this thing.
Did you like it?
See, look. It comes out just like that, and literally no wick.
How can this happen when we only made 100 candles?
That's $64. Not for a designer handbag, not for a 5-star dinner, not even for some rare luxury fragrance or fancy home piece. No, this was for a candle. Now here's the twist. According to multiple buyers, this luxury candle showed up with one tiny but massive problem. It allegedly had no wick. Yes, really, a candle you cannot light. You almost have to respect the boldness of charging premium, high-end prices for what some people say looked more like a decorative chunk of wax than an actual candle. And the wildest part, the label reportedly told customers to trim the wick to 1/4 inch.
Actually, what this means is that these products, and by the way, this candle, $64 from the Was Never website, $77.94 because we ordered it from eBay. It's a dud. It's a cheap mess that you cannot light.
That is not some small packaging issue. That is not, the scent was weaker than expected. This is the main thing a candle is supposed to do: glow, flicker, burn, work. And somehow, that part allegedly never made it into the finished product. So now the question is not just how this happened. The bigger question is how a brand built around luxury, taste, and careful curation let something this basic slide. Because at $64, people are not just buying wax. They are buying trust, image, and the feeling that somebody checked everything before it went out.
She says she's all about this attention to detail. Clearly she's not, okay? Meghan Markle, she needs to roll up her sleeves, go to that factory, because this is
was gifted this gorgeous as ever candle. Let me show it to you, okay? It's water lotus, sandalwood, and California poppy. How much do you think these retail for?
I think that they're between 45 and 60. I can't remember. I think they're $60.
Did you like
No wick. Is that normal?
Are you serious?
Is that the thing?
There's
no wick.
I've had 2 people tell me that there was no wick when they ordered a candle.
There's literally no wick.
And when that promise melts faster than the product itself, people start asking serious questions. But this is exactly where the heat starts rising. Because it was not just one confused customer posting a photo. It was not one random, maybe mine was defective comment sitting unnoticed in a review section. Multiple buyers started sharing complaints that sounded almost exactly the same. Same product, same price, same missing piece. Some said they opened the box and saw a tiny hole in the center of the wax, like something was supposed to be there, but was missing.
$64 for your wickless candle.
That's crazy.
$64 for your wickless candle.
Others said the top was completely smooth, with no wick stub, no hidden thread, no sign of anything at all. Just one solid, untouched slab of wax. That's when the screenshots started flying everywhere. Because once one person speaks up, others suddenly feel safe enough to say, wait, mine looked like that too. And just like that, what could have been brushed off as a random mistake started looking like something way bigger. Now pause for a second. Candles are not some advanced tech product. There are no chips, no moving parts, no complicated system behind it. It's wax, a container, and a wick. That's it.
It says on the bottom, always trim wick to 1/4. So this is not intentional. I thought this
No.
was like a thing she does.
No, this is insane.
So when the most basic piece is allegedly missing, people start asking real questions. Was this rushed out too fast? Did someone skip checks behind the scenes? Or did an entire batch just go completely wrong? Nobody expects perfection, but at the very least, they expect something that actually works, especially at this price. And when the same issue keeps popping up across different buyers, it stops feeling like bad luck. It starts looking like a pattern. That is when people switch from being confused to straight up demanding answers.
Let's say you're not an influencer like me. Let's say you don't have a platform, you don't have a podcast, you buy a product. Let's say you're actually one of Meghan Markle's, handful of fans. You buy a product and it comes without a wick. So obviously this is a problem in manufacturing.
Now let's talk about the number that really set everything off. $64. That price is not casual. That is not throw it in your cart and forget about it money. That sits right in luxury territory. And when a brand charges like that, it sends a loud message. This is not just a candle. This is an experience. It is mood, image, and status all wrapped into one. At that level, people are naturally comparing it to brands like Diptyque and Joe Malone, names that built their reputation on consistency and quality. When you pay that kind of money, you expect everything to feel perfect. The look, the scent, the burn, every detail thought through. Because luxury pricing creates an unspoken deal.
$64 for a candle is unacceptable if it does not come with a wick.
People believe higher cost means better craftsmanship and tighter control. So when something feels off, the disappointment hits harder. It is not just about the wax anymore. It is about whether the brand actually delivered what that price promised. And here is where it gets uncomfortable. Premium price brings premium attention. People start looking closer, judging, harder, comparing everything side by side. They take photos, post reviews, break it down piece by piece. If this candle was $12, maybe people shrug it off.
Are you kidding?
I have an empty wickless. How do I light it? I literally just noticed that. I just pulled it out. There is a hole in my Meghan Markle candle.
But at $64, now it turns into a full debate about value, image, and whether the brand actually lives up to what it claims. Because luxury is not just a number, it is a promise. And the moment that promise feels shaky, people do not stay quiet. They start questioning everything. And then came the part that really pushed things over the edge. The response, or more accurately, the lack of one. Several buyers said they reached out expecting something simple, a replacement, a refund, at least a real explanation. Instead, some claimed they got automated replies, copy-paste messages, polite but cold.
And so Alan emailed eBay communication and he wrote, "Hello, just received the candle today. Were you aware that the candle itself has no wick?" And eBay replies saying, "Hello, my apologies. When I checked it prior to shipping, I saw a wick. You can return the item and as soon as I receive the return, I will issue a refund." Well, there wasn't a wick. There was no goddamn wick. We're not making this up. You can't remove a wick.
Others say they followed up and got nothing back at all. Now stop right there. This is where brands either fix the situation or make it worse. When something goes wrong, customer service is the pressure valve. It is the moment to calm people down or accidentally blow everything up. Most customers are not trying to start drama. If something arrives flawed, they just want it fixed fast, quietly, and with respect. But when responses feel robotic or slow, frustration builds fast.
I actually tried to get a refund, but when you go to Meghan Markle's website for her brand As Ever, it says they don't do refunds for the type of products that they sell. So I really got Markled, you guys, and we took a screenshot, okay? If you go to the website to even click and report a damaged product, the link is broken. I can't even report this as a damaged.
What could have stayed private suddenly becomes public. Screenshots get posted. Comment sections grow. And the tone shifts from confused to irritated real quick. There are also claims that the website has a strict no refund policy. And if that is true, that changes everything. People understand luxury brands can have firm return rules. But defective products are a completely different situation. If something does not work the way it should, expectations flip instantly. And here is the real issue. Silence, whether intentional or not, feels like indifference. Even if things are being handled behind the scenes, people do not see that.
Piece of tat. No wonder she has hundreds and thousands of these things on the shelf.
And online, Perception moves way faster than explanations. Because now, customer service is not private anymore. It becomes part of the brand story. And once people start telling that story themselves, taking control back gets a lot harder. Just when it felt like the situation could not get any messier, the scent itself got pulled into the spotlight.
We're also sick of your desperate bids to make money, including this latest email pleading for everyone to continue to buy Was Never products thanks to a 20% discount. This is not a life of service, Meghan. This is not changing the world. You're never going to fly in this industry, so maybe it is about time that you wait.
The candle is marketed as California Poppy. Sounds dreamy, right? Sun-soaked golden hills, that effortless West Coast vibe. The kind of scent that's supposed to feel warm, calm, and aesthetic. But here's the problem. California poppies are actually known for having almost no scent at all. They look amazing. Bright orange, super iconic, even the state flower. But smell? Not really. So now people are asking the obvious question. If the flower barely has a scent, what exactly is this candle supposed to smell like? Is it just an inspired blend? A symbolic name? Or is it all about the aesthetic, choosing a vibe over actual accuracy? Now, to be fair, a lot of candles do this. Fragrance names are often about mood, not reality.
I'm opening this cylinder now. If you're watching, what a ta-da!
Ocean breeze is not literally bottled from the sea. Everyone gets that. But here is where it gets tricky. When a product is already under pressure, people start analyzing every tiny detail way more closely. Some buyers reportedly describe the scent as very faint, subtle to the point where you almost have to lean in just to notice it. And that feeds straight into the bigger narrative building online. Style over substance, image over real performance. No wild claims here, just what people are saying after trying it. But expectations at this price level are different. People expect strong presence, not something barely there. Because when the presentation looks perfect, but the performance feels weak, that gap becomes impossible to ignore.
Have no sympathy. Yes, she should give up. She should give up because she sold the world a pup. None of us buy in to what she is selling. And also, she's just really goddamn terrible at it.
And once people start questioning one part of the product, they start looking at everything else with sharper eyes. But here is the thing. This did not happen in a vacuum. It dropped right into a moment where public perception was already complicated. There have been ongoing reports about a major streaming partnership linked to Meghan's media projects not meeting expectations. And that context only added more attention to everything happening here. Some outlets even suggested certain projects were quietly scaled back after disappointing numbers. Whether that is fully accurate or partly speculation, those headlines were already shaping the story long before this candle situation even showed up. Then another claim started spreading.
The thing is, this guy is cucked now because he's not making any money, and so he has to do. She's saying, look, this is Netflix, baby. You're out of it. This is our money maker. This is paying for security. This is what's going to pay the mortgage. So you got to go along.
A former employee allegedly said leftover as-ever products were handed out casually, described as being passed around in what people framed as a trash bag full of surplus items. Now hold on. Context matters here. We do not know the full story behind that situation. But perception? That moves fast. Because luxury branding depends on control, detail, and presentation. Everything has to feel intentional, clean, and elevated. So when imagery like that enters the conversation, even slightly, it creates friction. And people notice everything. If a partner seems distant, even quietly, people pick up on it. If former staff speak out, Audiences connect dots instantly.
This is a wick. This is why, like, everything's crap, because nobody is doing their due diligence.
Fair or not, that is how narratives build. And that is the key point. This candle situation did not start from zero. It attached itself to existing doubts about consistency, delivery, and follow-through. So instead of looking like a simple production mistake, it started feeling like part of a bigger pattern. Right or wrong, timing makes everything louder. When attention is already high, even a small issue can explode into something much bigger. Now here is where things move from online talk into real-world consequences.
Everything Meghan tries to do, and she tries to ignite, it flops. Okay, everything she touches turns to crap. She goes to the Dodgers game, look what happened. So nonetheless, everything Meghan Markle does gets markled. I feel like I just got...
When customers publicly say a product does not match what was promised, it goes beyond just frustration. It starts touching consumer protection territory. If complaints keep stacking up, regulatory attention can become a real possibility. Agencies, like the FTC, exist to check whether marketing actually matches what people receive. This is not saying it will happen, but we have seen this pattern before with other brands. When enough people raise the same concern, oversight groups sometimes step in, especially when pricing and performance do not line up. And then there is the legal side. If multiple buyers believe they experience the same issue, talk about class actions can start circulating. Even if nothing ever gets filed, the conversation alone adds pressure and keeps the spotlight burning. The moment legal risk even gets mentioned, credibility starts taking a hit. Investors notice. Retail partners start hesitating. Future collaborators become way more cautious. Reputation is not just a buzzword, it actually affects numbers. Ratings on platforms like Better Business Bureau or Trustpilot, social proof, all of it directly shapes whether people buy or walk away. And once public trust dips, even slightly, it can quietly eat away at long-term growth without anyone noticing it first. Now here comes another layer. Expanding into markets like the UK or EU means stricter rules across the board. Product labeling, manufacturing accuracy, refund policies, everything gets examined more closely. So suddenly, this is not just about a candle anymore. It becomes about systems, discipline, and how tightly everything is controlled behind the scenes. Because once compliance questions start popping up, fixing the damage is way harder than preventing it in the first place. And then, the internet did what it always does. It turned the situation into symbolism. Some critics started comparing the wickless candle to something bigger, saying it felt like a reflection of a brand promising spark, but struggling to actually deliver it. Now let's be clear. That is not confirming anything. It is just how online narratives form. But symbolism hits hard. Every product becomes part of the brand's identity. When something works perfectly, it builds confidence. But when it slips, even a little, people start connecting it to a bigger story. Is that always fair? Not really. Is it powerful? Absolutely. That is the reality of being in the spotlight. A small mistake for a private company might stay hidden in emails. But for a globally known figure, everything gets amplified, every flaw becomes a talking point, every defect turns into a headline. And here is where it really gets interesting. The candle issue itself might not even be widespread. We do not have internal data to confirm anything, but perception does not wait for facts. It moves fast. Faster than reports, faster than explanations. It spreads through screenshots, posts, and conversations. And once it starts, it is very hard to slow down. Once a narrative locks in, everything starts getting filtered through it. Success, people question it. Silence, people overanalyze it. Even small mistakes suddenly look way bigger than they actually are, because public image is not just built on what a brand does. It is shaped by how people interpret it. And in this situation, one missing wick turned into something much larger. A full conversation about credibility, momentum, and trust. Now let me step in with some real perspective. Business launches are messy. Even big, established brands mess up during early rollouts. Production issues happen. Suppliers miss details. Quality checks fail sometimes. That does not automatically mean everything is falling apart. It usually means things are still being figured out. But at the same time, context matters. When someone spends $64 of their own money, expectations go up. Not because people are picky, but because higher pricing comes with higher responsibility. If something goes wrong, the response matters more than the mistake. Clear communication and fast fixes can calm things down way more than trying to be perfect. And here is the honest take. Not every viral complaint tells the full story. Online backlash can snowball fast. One post turns into 10 turn into headlines, and suddenly it feels way bigger than what is actually confirmed. That is just how modern consumer culture works now. So here is what I am actually thinking. I might order one myself. Not to attack anyone, not to defend anyone, just to test it directly and see what is real. Because sometimes the only way to cut through all the noise is to check it yourself. Now I want your take. Would you actually spend $64 on this candle after hearing all this? Or would you wait and see how it plays out? And should I buy one and give you a completely honest review? Drop your thoughts below. And if you want more breakdowns like this, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. Because this is not just about one product anymore. It is about trust. And when you zoom out, this whole situation feels way bigger than just a glass jar with scented wax. Luxury. Brands are not just selling products. They are selling belief. Belief in taste. Belief in quality. Belief that every single detail was carefully checked before it ever reaches your door. And the moment that illusion cracks, even a little, people do not just question the product. They start questioning everything behind it. One bad shipment, that can be fixed. A slow reply, that can be explained. But a pattern of doubt, that sticks. Because today's customers are sharp. They compare everything. They save receipts, screenshots, reviews. They look for patterns. And once skepticism shows up, it does not leave quietly. And there is a bigger lesson here too. Celebrity-driven brands. Fame gives instant attention, but attention comes with pressure. You skip the slow grind of building trust, but in return, every flaw gets magnified like crazy. That does not mean the brand is finished. Plenty of companies stumble early and bounce back stronger. But it all comes down to one thing: ownership. Owning the mistake, adjusting fast, improving fast. Because in business, perception builds over time, just like money does. Right now, this candle is not just a product. It is the center of a bigger conversation about standards. Not sabotage, not scandal. Standards. And whether this cools down or gets even bigger depends on what happens next. What started as one missing wick turned into something way larger. A debate about quality. A debate about value. A debate about credibility. Because in luxury, perception is everything. One flaw can echo louder than 10 perfect launches. And whether this ends up being a small production issue or something deeper, the real test is not the candle. It is the response. Brands are not judged by being perfect. They are judged by how they react, how fast they fix things, how clearly they communicate. That is what separates a small mistake from long-term damage. And if you think this situation is already intense, just wait. In my last video, we broke down claims from an investigative author about a hidden clause tied to a high-profile royal marriage, something that could change how you see everything. If you have not seen it yet, go check it out. And if you want more deep dives like this, hit subscribe so you do not miss what is coming next. Because fame gets attention, but the truth, that is what really hits. See you in the next one.